going on there, YouTube? This is SDL0320 representing JVS. So I'm back here again for another movie review. Believe it or not, I've actually seen the movie, it was like last Wednesday. I'd already seen it. I just haven't had time to actually go through the review process because it's been so hectic, so busy, as you probably already know. Tonight, I'm actually going to be watching Birth of a Nation. I'm hopefully going to try to do that review if I can, if at all possible tonight, and maybe sacrifice Fear the Walking Dead. I'm not really sure. Depends on how long everything takes. But I definitely wanted to make sure I do this review for y'all before I go into Birth of a Nation, because I don't know when I'll be able to come back to it. But believe it or not, The Magnificent Seven is the movie I'm talking about, starring Denzel Washington, Ethan Hawke, Chris Pratt, Vincent D'Onofrio. The names themselves just speak like charisma and like valor and heroism when it comes to these amazing different roles these awesome men have actually done. And as a unit, one of the first things I'll say is that they work really well together. I mean, if any of y'all know the 1960s version, then you will look at this one, especially if you look at like a trailer. If you go to YouTube, you can check out a trailer for the 1960 version. You'll be like, after watching this movie, you're looking back like, I see what you did there. Antoine Fuqua is the person that directed it. So from Training Day, Shooter, Southpaw, he's done it all. And I mean, he's a very versatile director in general. I've generally liked most of his movies. I think Agent 13, whatever one with Ethan Hawke, that was the weird one with Morgan Freeman. I didn't really like that one, but everything else generally I thought was pretty okay, or either I really loved it. And this one is no different. I actually had a great time at the movie theaters. I've taken time. When I first looked at it, I was like, but then I thought about it in the past 5 years, honestly, as far as a Western, not a spaghetti string Western, not just a gore fest. And that's no shade to Django, because I love Django, you know what I'm saying? But as far as just a general Western that's just a good time, I haven't seen one since that Pierce Brosnan and, who was it? Liam Neeson movie. I forget the name of it. But it was really done well, and I actually really liked it. This is not as thought-provoking as that one, but it's a really good time at the movies. And so let's break it down. As far as the actual cinematography for it, a lot of the shots that they actually did for this one, it was a really good job. The cinematography and the score equally, I was impressed by, because they could have easily kind of been like, this is kind of a hip-hop, upbeat kind of. They took an old Western kind of tone to the score for this one. I thought they did a really good job as far as the score. And each sequence that I actually saw it in, it was really shot very well. I mean, the sad thing is, you've seen so many, I've seen so many Westerns that it's it could be, recycled, you know what I'm saying? And it's definitely, you can see, it pays homage to some of the older ones. I mean, Good, Bad, and Ugly, Unforgiven, those centerpieces. There's one shot where I saw, the villain, and she does a good job, to be honest with you. And he kind of goes into this church, and the way he kind of walks up, I was like, this has been seen all the time. But it's from a nostalgia standpoint, I'm like, this is acceptable, I'm fine with it. And then when you're talking about the action beats and a lot of the different action sequences, if you go into the movie really apprehensive and kind of be like, I don't want to do this, you're gonna really dislike it. You're gonna dislike the fact that this is nothing you haven't seen before. But in terms of tone, in terms of enjoyability from an action standpoint, this is a really good action Western. I actually really enjoyed and appreciated the cinematography as well as the choreography, because there's a lot of the stunts and stuff like that. The stunt coordinator did a really good job, and the stunt artist did a great job with each time that you see a specific sequence. And even the actors, there was moments where Ethan Hawke's character, it was Goodnight, there was one moment where he was training a group of people, and I was like, look at Ethan. It was really well fleshed out in terms of the cinematography and the action pacing for it. Because it could have been over the top, but it really wasn't. And the moments that they took time to, spar together, they did a great job. So that's a good transfer into the acting. The acting was actually really good. I mean, it wasn't their best work by any means. To be honest with you, probably to me, acted the most would have to be torn between Haley Bennett, who plays the role of Emma. I'll talk about her in a little bit, but in terms of her as tone, I thought she did a really good job. And I mean, even like I said, Peter Sarsgaard that played Bogue in this one, who's the villain, I thought he did a good job. It's just you think of Game of Thrones, any of you Game of Thrones fans, and you think of the last villain that they had, which this is not spoiling anything. He was a jerk, and I mean, you could tell he was capable of doing certain things, but as a strategist, that's where his gifting really was. And it's the same thing kind of with this character. He's really just spineless, you know what I'm saying? I appreciated the way that they actually did him. But both of them probably were the ones that acted the most. But as you know, I mean, Denzel Washington, Chris Pratt, Ethan Hawke, I mean, they all just speak charisma. And I think that they worked very good together. I think that their acting cues were really on point in terms of their characters, where I could be like, all right, I can see the difference between these characters. Because I mean, I was sitting there thinking, how am I going to tell the difference between Chris Pratt's character and Denzel Washington's character? I could tell Chris Pratt's character, Josh, he was more of a, like, in my opinion, he had some screws loose. I know that sounds really strange, but he wasn't necessarily a good person. You know, I mean, he's doing the right thing just because. Whereas Denzel Washington's character is doing the right thing because that's what he is made to do, you know what I'm saying? And I could really tell no difference. And I mean, that could have gotten misconstrued in the acting performances, but it didn't. It actually was well done out. And I mean, Denzel, I mean, he's just a beast, man. He can do anything, honestly. But even thinking about Ethan Hawke and Vincent D'Onofrio, I think Vincent D'Onofrio excelled Ethan in the sense of his character was just kind of like all over the place. And if you know his character, I mean, the different roles that he's actually played, you will know that he excels in that. Just look at Daredevil. I mean, the character is one way. You see, and you're like, man, all right, this way he's going to be. And he's just like here, you know. And when he's here, he takes it to the whole strong. And that's the same thing with this one. His interesting role is this one. I thought he did a good job. Ethan did a good job as well. It just wasn't as much as I would have liked. I think I would have liked to get a little bit more with the pass between him and Denzel Washington, but from what I got and what I actually understood, I was like, wow, this is actually an interestingly tormented soul. So none of these men are perfect, but they actually do a really good job. And then as far as Billy Rocks, who's played by, I think I'm going to get his name wrong, Byung Lee, I thought he did a good job. As far as an action beat, like I thought he did, like, I mean, dude is a beast. Considering, like, if I remember the 1960s versions, there was a person that fought with knives versus with guns. He nailed it. Some people will be a little bit upset in terms of like this versus like Samurai 7 versus the old one versus all these different remakes they've done. I personally had no problem with it. That's why I'll go into the story. I mean, it is exactly what you've seen between Samurai 7, between the old Magnificent 7. They don't deviate from that. You know, they could have taken this one, made on their own, and kind of failed at it, but I think that they wanted to play it safe in the sense of enjoyability. Like, is this something that you could watch again? And me personally, if it was put on like in front of me, I would watch it again. If Alicia wants to see it, I'll definitely go watch this movie again. I actually enjoyed the story. It was an interesting way of telling it, different than kind of the old one, in the sense of the old one's kind of like with one sit down, and this one they had like the girl involved and like her desperation to try to save her town from this one guy that's just like making their town like a living hell in a sense. And so to have like these 7 men come together and do what they could to try to stop an army, you know, that's a classic, interesting tale. I mean, that's straight speak samurai, you know, but in and of itself, I think it stays true to the mythology just good enough that I was able to enjoy it, but at the same time, the charisma just coming off of the actors, like, how can you not enjoy the movie to some extent? So, like I said, if you're coming into the movie apprehensive and thinking this is going to be the same old thing, you know, you're looking for maybe something more violent, a little bit more substance as far as, I don't know, where the story could go, you're not going to get it in this movie, but you will have a good time in the movies. And that's the reason why I will be glad to give The Magnificent 7 an 8 out of 10. I actually really enjoyed it. Hopefully you enjoyed this review. Keep it locked. JVS ain't gonna stop. Again, I'm going to be watching Birth of a Nation tonight. Peace, everybody.